So we are looking at work, the tool for discovering possibilities on the earth. Work as a tool for discovering possibility on the earth. Remember when we started this series last week? No, it was this week. That was on Monday. We talked about the fact that work is a tool. Work is a very important and strong tool. Work is a tool that is supposed to help us to become who we are born to be. It's a tool. As a matter of fact, it's a blessing. Work is a blessing of God for mankind. Work. Work is a blessing of God for mankind. It's a blessing of God for mankind because it allows for human advancement. Unfortunately, many do not understand. So people despise work. People relegate work to the background. People don't take work seriously. And people joke with work. And the reason is because lack of understanding. Remember, I've said it very well on this platform before, that if there is one thing we need to do as human, is actually to define what we do in this life. Define it. What do I mean by that? Define your work. What is your work to you? Define your relationship with your spouse, if you are married. Define your children. Define everything. If you don't define it, do you know what will happen? The society define it for you. The society define it for you. And if you take on with the definition of the society, you are most likely going to be wrong because our society is flawed. Our society is flawed. Our society is flawed. The fact that our society is flawed is the reason why you should define everything you do. Define prominent and important word you use. You want to marry? Have you defined what husband is supposed to be? You want to marry? Have you defined what a wife is supposed to be? And husband is a nurturer. That's why it's called husband. Husbandry, nurturer. If a woman is married, and if a man is married and the woman get worse because it's in your house, you have failed as a husband. Because as a husband, you are supposed to be a nurturer. That means that woman should grow. It should grow under your care. If you define your role as a husband, then you understand what your job is in that relationship. If you define your role as a wife, then you understand what your role is in that relationship. I'm basically saying that we have not correctly defined work, and that has made it difficult for us to be able to take work seriously and use work for what it's meant to be, is a tool for advancement. Today we are looking at the fact that work is a tool for discovery of possibility on the earth. Work is an instrument through which we are able to discover nature. Through work, we are able to subdue nature. And then through work, we become very close to God. Do you know work helps us to be able to discover nature? It is work. It is work that made it possible It is work that made it possible for other planets to be discovered. You know, recently, rover was sent to Mars. Rover was sent to Mars. And it was well celebrated. And it was called Perseverance rover. Sent to Mars to explore Mars. And when Perseverance rover landed in Mars, it was an excitement in America. Even the president had to call NASA, congratulating them for a job well done. So possibilities are discovered because of work, but it took years of work for NASA to achieve that. Work helps us to discover nature. How do we know? Do you know that it took a while for human being to realize that the earth is spherical? We used to think it's flat. But the scripture already said it was spherical, of course, because many skeptics don't take the scriptures seriously. We decided to prove it scientifically, and it was good that science was able to prove it. That Christopher Columbus was able to discover that the earth is spherical. Through work, we discover gold. Through work, we discover silver. Through work, we discover different elements, over 100 of them. Through work. Through work. Through work, we are able to subdue nature. Through work, man has conquered the sea. You need to see, I follow some Instagram account that explore the sea and explore the air, and I'm amazed at the way human being has conquered the sea, and of course, how we have conquered the air, and not just conquered the air, even going to other planets and gathering data from other planets using artificial intelligence. Work help us to discover nature, subdue nature, and through work, we are also able to become very close to God. Work is a powerful instrument and is God's gift to us for the discovery. It helps us to discover nature. It helps us to discover the wealth that are hidden in nature. Through work, we discover lead, used for batteries, used for many other equipment. Through work, we discover iron, used for production of steel, which is used to produce many machines. Through work, we discover zinc. And through work, we also discover a number of elements that have become very useful to us in our world today. We actually discover wealth hidden in nature through work. Work is so important, ladies and gentlemen. Work is so valuable, ladies and gentlemen. It will be sad, very sad, if we don't take work seriously. It will be sad, very sad, if we don't take work seriously. And you know what? Many people don't take work seriously. Religion has made some to believe that work is actually a curse. Work is actually a curse. I don't know where they found it because that's not in the Bible. But find a way of ensuring that laziness is justified. We find a way of ensuring that laziness is justified. It's so important, ladies and gentlemen. It's so important. Work. 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 It is an instrument that God has given to us so as not to live a boring life. And through this instrument, we make our life richer on a daily basis. It was only after man has taken responsibility for the earth that it began to rain. Until man was created, to explore and till the earth, the Bible says that rain was not allowed to fall. Rain was not allowed to fall. Rain was not allowed to fall until man was able to take responsibility on the earth. When you take responsibility for the land of promise that you are called to, you will begin to discover possibilities hidden in that land. You know, I've spoken a lot, that this is actually Life Calling and Career Clinic anyway, and we have spoken severally on the need for discovery. And until you discover and begin to explore that land, you will not be able to identify the possibilities of that land. You will not be able to identify the possibilities of that land. Work, an instrument for discovering possibility on the earth. Work, an instrument for discovering possibility on the earth. Anyone that have discovered the secret of hard work will become a man of discovery and invention. When you discover the secret of hard work, you become a man of discovery and a man of invention, simply because you've been able to discover the possibilities of hard work. There is a huge possibility in hard work. There is a huge possibilities in hard work. There are things you will never be able to realize and discover in life until you become very hardworking. That is why you really cannot afford to be lazy. You really cannot afford to be lazy. You really cannot afford to be lazy. And the Lord took man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. To dress it and to keep it. To dress it and to keep it. Until men were put in the garden to work. The hidden treasure of the earth were not revealed. The hidden treasure of the earth were not revealed. Remember, it is the glory of God to hide a matter. It is the honor of king to search it out. You only become king on the earth when you are able to search out those hidden things. You only become king on the earth when you are able to search out those hidden things. You only become king on the earth when you are able to search out those hidden things. And the only way you will search it out is through hard work. Is through hard work. Work, a tool for discovering possibilities on the earth. Work as a tool for discovering possibilities on the earth. Once you begin to take responsibility for your own sphere of influence, your land, you will begin to see the possibility in that area. If you don't take responsibility, you will not see possibilities. If you don't take responsibilities, you will not see possibilities. When you take responsibility, you see possibilities. You discover what is possible. Even about yourself, there's so many things hidden in you that you will not be able to see until you work and work very hard. Once you take responsibility, you see possibility. There are so many possibilities in your land that you will not see until you begin to take responsibility. And this is done through work, through research, through thinking, through work. In almost every sphere of human endeavor, there are so many things that are yet to be discovered. And this is what you can discover if only you will take responsibility. There are so many things that are yet to be discovered. There are so many things that are yet to be discovered. You think we have discovered something in life? If you know what Perseverance rover is going to discover in Mars and what the implication of that will be, you will discover that we have not discovered enough. Our universe is so vast. There's so much on the earth. So much is possible. So much is possible. So this means that the things for you to discover in your area of influence or in your area of calling or in your sector of your economy is much. There is more to discover. So if you think the sector where you think you are called to serve, if you think a lot of things have been discovered there, maybe because of IT, because you're in IT, I tell you, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, neither has it come into the heart of man, the things that God has prepared for you to discover in that sphere. If and only if you will show yourself approved in that sphere through work. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, neither has it come into the heart of man, the things you are capable of discovering in that your sphere of influence. However, you will only be approved to see those things when you have been able to study extensively. And that is the work we are talking about. And that is the work we are talking about. And that is the work you are talking about. This means that things are more yet available for you to discover in that sphere. For example, if you look at the eye of a man, if you are in the medical world, there's so many things, as small as the eye is, so many things yet to be discovered about the eye. As small as the eye is, there are so many things yet to be discovered about the eye. Even an ophthalmologist can tell you he's specialized only in the iris, or he's specialized in the rod and cone cells, or he's specialized in the conjunctiva, only in one little tiny area. You know, the interesting thing about knowledge is the higher you go from MSc to PhD to even become a professor, the area of your specialization becomes narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower. And you discover as narrow as that area is, there's so much to discover there. So much to discover. So much to discover. You know, I remember as a medical student in medical school, I remember when I read medical physiology, the textbook, we made this statement. Listen to the statement. It will say that there is a phenomenon, there is a particular theory, there is a particular issue, there is a particular process, there is a particular system, and there is something that happened in that particular process that we don't know about. We don't know how it happened. And the textbook will say, the reason behind this particular issue has not yet been fully elucidated. That's a medical book telling you. You say the reason behind this particular phenomenon, this particular situation and circumstances has not yet been fully elucidated. It's not yet been fully explained. There is still more research still being done. Do you know when medicine started? Hundreds of years. Research is being done by different people in different corners of the world every day. And there are still things about human yet to be discovered. That is work. The people that will discover that are the ones that do the work. If you look at people that have discovered that, if you look at Bill Gates, for example, if you read Outliers, you will realize how Bill Gates became what he became, how much work, which is why to become an expert, it is said that you must have spent a 10,000 hour of active studying, learning, and practice in that sphere for you to become an expert. And from an expert, you can actually become an authority. Basically saying that it's so critical and crucial and important to know there are so many things yet to be discovered in this life. There's so many things yet to be discovered in this life. So many. So many. So many. And that's an encouragement to let us realize that we have opportunity to search more, to look for more. So there is opportunity for us to become kings. Remember, it is the glory of God to hide a matter, and it is the honor of king to search it out. However, to be able to search it out, you need to show yourself approved to God. If God is going to reveal it to you, you need to show yourself approved to God. And that is the essence of work, otherwise called study, study, study. Study to show thyself approved to God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, but rightly, correctly dividing the word of truth. But rightly, correctly dividing the word of truth. But rightly, correctly dividing the word of truth. So I'm going to be able to become approved, to discover in my sphere of influence. There's nothing I can do short of work in the area of research, in the area of learning. So by observing nature, we are able to discover botany. By observing nature, we discover anatomy. By observing nature, we discover physiology. By observing nature, we discover zoology. By observing nature, we discover geography. By observing nature, we discover geology. By observing nature, we discover physics. By observing nature, we discover biology. By observing nature, we discover microbiology. By observing nature, we discover genetics. By observing nature, we discover chemistry and biochemistry. It's amazing. It's amazing how much work can help you to discover. It's amazing how much work can help you to discover. There are so much to be discovered in our world. There are a lot of possibilities in our world. So much possibilities in our world. Through observation of how birds fly, we are able to discover how to overcome the force of gravity. And you know what? The Wright brother came up with the idea of flying in the air through plane. And when you look at the plane that the Wright brother discovered and invented, vis-a-vis the plane we have today. In fact, if you enter some of the new Airbus A380 and you see how huge this plane is, with double decker carrying almost 500 people, and it will take off with ease and land with ease. You know, you don't get to see them coming to Nigeria because we don't have infrastructure to handle them. I often experience it when I have to go to UK and I want to spend more time in spending, and I find myself spending going to Dubai and then from Dubai to the UK. And you know what? The only plane that Emirates fly to the UK, at least to Heathrow, is Airbus. It's amazing how that plane flies. So big, yet take off with ease. But when you look at the plane that Wright brother invented, and you compare it to what we have today, even cars. I remember when I was growing up, my dad had a Peugeot 504 and a pickup. And you see the way the carburetor works, you see the way everything, you know, just imagine if you're very much familiar with the way those cars are then and see the way cars are now. Even with the autonomous cars and electric cars. And in spite of that, there is still so much to be discovered. In spite of that, there is still so much to be discovered. Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Through observation, we are able to observe how birds fly, and we discover the plane. Through observation of how horses run, we are able to discover the concept of horsepower, and this was used to develop automobile and a number of other engines in our world. Automobiles and a number of other engines in our world. Through the observation of how the brain works, the brain, we were able to discover the computer. And the computer is used for different kind of work. Different kind of work. You know, I was doing an analysis today, and we're discussing my wife yesterday, and he was talking about when he was doing if he was doing her MSc, and she was having to learn statistics, you know, to calculate some of these things that SPSS and Blue Sky will do for you today, or AP Info will do for you today easily. And yeah, I have to calculate it. Computer is doing so much for us in our world. So much for us in our world. Through observation of how the brain works, we're able to discover the computer being used to do various kinds of work. Through hard work, all these observations were made. And research were done to invent the equivalent that help human activity. Imagine a submarine. Imagine the way human beings explore the ocean floor. Through work, we are able to live a life of discovery. Through work, we are able to live a life of invention. Through work, we are able to live a life of creativity. And through work, we are able to live a life of innovation. Through work, we are able to connect with God and receive ideas. Through spiritual work, we are able to connect with God and receive ideas that are able to solve difficult problems for mankind. We receive ideas that we use to solve difficult problems for mankind. We receive ideas that we use to solve difficult problems for mankind through work. Through work, we are able to receive ideas, and the ideas help us in the discovery, in innovation, in creativity, and we are able to become solution provider on the earth. Through work. Through work. Through work, we are able to connect with God and receive ideas. Please note that every human being can be an inventor. So there are so many things in nature that are yet to be discovered, and this can be discovered through hard work. Every human being can be an inventor. Because all of us have the brain. We have what it takes. The challenge we have is inadequate information about the possibilities and wrong definition of the essence of work. Wrong definition of the essence of work. Wrong definition of the reason why we need to work. So there are so much fallow ground in different areas of human endeavor. So much fallow ground. So much fallow ground in different areas of human endeavor. And this can be nurtured, cultivated, and discovered through work. If you understand the treasure of hard work, you will realize that nothing is actually impossible to you. Task you want to carry out, those tasks will not be impossible. It might just take you more time if you are new to that area, but if you can invest the right amount of time, if you can invest the right amount of time, if you can invest the right amount of time, guess what? You will be able. You will be able. You will be able to do that thing that seems difficult for you. It's called the treasure of work. Can you imagine that there are professors in Nigeria who do not have any product? They don't have any patent to their name. The research they did were done because they wanted promotion. You know, there was a story that the DG of NAPTEC, is it NAPTEC or something like that? National Board for Technical something. That body was, the DG went with a professor, a Nigerian professor, to Malaysia for a program, and they met another professor. And that other professor asked this professor, how many patents do you have? How many patents do you have? The Nigerian professor does not have a patent in the market. The Nigerian professor does not have a patent in the market. This Malaysian professor was shocked to the marrow. So what are you professing if you don't have patent in the market? What you have developed in the market that is solving problems that the business people are paying you royalty for, being your idea, being used to solve problems for mankind and earn income and build wealth and create jobs. What are you professing? What are you professing? But that is the kind of education we have built. Education that makes a student to think he's in school to just get a certificate because he wants to secure a job. That is the kind of education we have built. That is the kind of education we have built. It has not made us to understand and appreciate the whole idea of work. The whole idea of work. If only you will work hard, you will become a star in anything that you have decided that you want to use your life to do. You can become a star in almost anything. It might take time and varying time between different people because of our innate capability, but we can both achieve it in different time period. If only you work hard, you can become a star. Treasures are everywhere, and treasures are all over us, but they can only be discovered through the instrumentality of work. You know, the scripture says he will give believers treasures in hidden places. But believers are unable to discover the treasures in hidden places. He said, I will give the treasure of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I am the Lord, which called thee by thy name. I am God of Israel. I will give thee treasure of darkness. I will give thee treasure of darkness. I will give thee treasure in dark places. Treasure in dark places. Question: why is it that believers are not able to access this treasure in dark places? The answer is simple. They have not been able to pay the price of work. So they are not eligible. They are not approved by God to be able to discover those things, to see those things. They are not paying the price. It is the glory of God to hide the matter. It is the honor of king to search it out. It is the glory of God to hide the matter. It is the honor of kings to search it out. It is the glory of God to hide the matter. It is the honor of king to search it out. Believers have not been able to search it out because they have not done the work that it requires. And you know the beauty of the work a believer will do, if you are at the same level with an unbeliever, and you are a believer, and you have to do a particular work to discover a particular thing, because of your relationship with God and the Holy Spirit, you should spend a shorter time. You should spend a shorter time. Why that other person need a lot of time to get that intuition, you can get that inspiration from the Holy Spirit and be able to get that thing done within a shorter time than the unbeliever. That is the edge you have as a believer. You know, I said it last time, and I will repeat again, that the goal of living a holy life beyond going to heaven is to be in alignment with God, because two cannot work together except they be agreed. When we are in alignment with him by being separated for holy use in a process called sanctification, we become useful to him. We are in fellowship with him. That fellowship is a union. The union of husband and wife produce fruit. That fellowship with God produce fruit. That fellowship is called abiding in him. To abide in him means you will be fruitful. He said, you will not be fruitful if you don't abide in me. He said, except you abide in the vine, the branch will not be fruitful. You are a branch, he is the vine. When you are in synchrony with him, in relationship with him, in continuous intimate relationship with him, which will only be achieved if you live in holiness, because he is a holy God, and two cannot work together except they be agreed. And when you are separated from him, you cut yourself away from that source. That's why he said, abide in me and I in you. He said, a tree cannot bear fruit except he abide in the vine. He said, I am the vine and ye are the branches. He that abide in me and I in him, the same bring forth fruit. And he said, without me, you won't be able to do anything. He said, abide in me and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except ye abide in the vine, no more can ye except ye abide in me. To be fruitful is to be a solution provider. One of them is the fruit of character, which make the world a better place, living in righteousness. One of the fruit is ideas, the fruit of thought. One of the fruit is your work, the work of your hand, the fruit of your hand. One of the fruit is the fruit of your mouth, your words. You know, if we don't abide in him, we will not be able to bring forth that fruit. He said, if a man abide not in me, he is cut forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are born. And they are born. Then he says something very important. Remember, Jesus said, let your light so shine before men that they will see your good work and glorify your Father. And Jesus, in repeating that statement again, says, herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit. And he said, when you bear that fruit, you shall be my disciple. When you bear that fruit, you shall be my disciple. He said, my Father is glorified when you bear fruit. You know why believers are unable to glorify God on the earth? Why we are mediocre at the bottom of the ladder? Why we are not the one creating and inventing? Why we are not the one producing and providing solution to the problem on the earth? Where we are not the one in charge of those innovation and creativity, at least most of us are not, is because we are not bearing fruit. Why are we unable to bear fruit? We have not studied to show ourselves approved, to be able to discover the hidden riches of God in secret places. If only you will work hard, you can become a star in anything that you do. Treasures are everywhere. The treasures are all around you, but you must discover it through work. The interesting thing is that the interest in this life in that there are still so much things that are yet to be discovered. Just take a look at the human endeavor, like what I've mentioned earlier, the botany, the physics, the chemistry, the engineering, the computer science, the medicine. And you will discover that we are yet to scratch the surface. And you discover that we are yet to scratch the surface. There are so much yet to be discovered. To say that you are an unemployed is a sign of ignorance. Ignorance of the power of hard work. The power of hard work. To say that you're unemployed is a sign of ignorance of the power of hard work. So instead of waiting to be employed, you can become an employer of labor through hard work. Hard work will bring you into a world of discovery of treasures that God has hidden on the earth. Remember, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, and it is the honor of king to search it out. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing. It is the honor of king to search it out. That's why they give award to discoverer. Every year they give award. They call Nobel Prize winners. Nobel Prize winners. People that have done such a noble thing on the earth, either in the area of peace, in the area of science, physics, chemistry, different areas. Because they've done something that is so noble that deserve recognition in the world. This is how hard work makes you to be king. Hard work is involved in discovery, and that's what makes you to be king. Hard work is involved in discovery, and that's what makes you to be king. Hard work is involved in discovery, and that's what makes you to be king. Hard work is involved in discovery, and that's what makes you to be king. That's what makes you to be king. That is what makes you to be king. This is how hard work makes you to be king in this world, because being able to search out what God has hidden make you to be king, and it is the work that help you to search it out. All of us could live an exciting life, a life of constant discoveries through hard work. When the first family began to work, they began to see and they began to discover other treasures that are hidden in the Garden of Eden. And you see them named all over. The treasures were not obvious and revealed until Adam and Eve began to walk and till the ground in the Garden of Eden. Through hard work and studying, you can tune in to the mind of God. You can tune in to the mind of God. You can tune in to the mind of God. You can tune in to the mind of people that have gone before you in that field of human endeavor. You can tune in to what God wants to do in that area through hard work. You can discover much more than you can ever imagine. Through the hard work of the first family, the animals on the earth were named for us to be able to identify them today. The hard work you are doing today to discover a solution for mankind can remain here for thousands of years to come and makes you live forever. It can remain here for thousands of years to come and it can make you live forever. The question then is, what are you working to discover in your current profession? Are you just earning salary, or you are looking for what to discover in your profession or area of calling? Hard work is the key to discovering the hidden treasures day in, day out. If you do not work hard, you will not be able to discover. You will not be able to discover something better than what you have met. You will not be able to discover that no one is better than you. Please note, no one is better than you. No one is better than you. The only difference between you and anybody is the way they have used their time. No one is better than you. The only difference between us in life is the way we have used our time. The difference between us in life is the difference the way we have used our time. No one is better than you. No one. No one. No one. All of us, when God created us, he said everything was good. We are all good. We are all fearfully and wonderfully made. No one is better than you. If you are a solution to a particular question on the earth, you are a solution to a particular problem on the earth. But that will only be found if you use the tool of work. You are a solution to a particular problem of the earth. But that will only be discovered if you use the tool of work. You are a solution. You are a solution. He said, before I formed thee in the belly, I ordained thee a prophet to nations. When God foresee a problem, he sends solution through human being created. All of us are solution provider. Of course, only few have been able to discover themselves and provide solution to those areas before they leave the world. That's why we still have a lot of undiscovered secrets. Many don't come here to solve problems. They come here to add to the statistics. They come here to add to the number by only living for survival, only living for what to eat, what to drink, and what to put on. Only living for what to eat, what to drink, and what to put on. Only living for survival. It's so sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's so sad, ladies and gentlemen. It's so sad, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? The essence of tonight's session is to call us back to order, to call us back to where we're supposed to be a wake-up call to every one of us that work is a tool for discovering possibilities on the earth. Work is a tool for discovering possibilities on the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, work is a very important tool in our hands. The question is, how are we going to be able to maximize this tool? Unfortunately, many are not. Many are unable to maximize this tool. And that explains the reason why we are where we are as a people on the earth. Now that you have known these things, happy, blessed are you, if and only if you put them into practice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me hear your voice today. Damaris Obajemu, you are the first on my list. Yes, what do you have to say? You joined a bit late. Can you hear me, please? Hello, Damaris.
Yes, sir. Yes, I can hear you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, I joined late, but I gained was the fact that if we are hardworking at anything, whatever our endeavors are, we can be the best at it.
Yeah.
And the fact that work is the way we can like harness the things that God has given us. Like if God says, okay, like things like the inventions and everything, it came as a result of work. So we should not look at work as a course or something that we can get away from, or we should look for art. Okay, maybe when I'm rich, I'll stop working. Work should be purposeful. I think those are things I was able to
You made a very profound statement, and many people say it. When they are rich, they don't want to work again because they don't understand the whole reason and essence of work. That's why people say they don't want to work again, because now they are comfortable and rich. Because the essence and the goal of work has not been properly defined. Kemi, welcome back. I hope you are back in your fatherland. Hello, Kemi, are you there?
Good evening, sir.
Are you back in your fatherland?
No, I'm not.
When are you coming back?
Not back. Soon.
All
Very
right.
soon. I'm wrapping up lab work. Yes, sir.
All right. Go
and in relation to everything that you have said today, you said something that is scientific in nature, that there's still so much discovery to unravel.
So many.
There's still so much question to answer. You know, and it's always intriguing that when you are in the field of research and you think you have discovered something new, that thing that you discover will be begging for another question for you to answer. Yes, it's an open door to a whole lot of different questions. Like when yes, so I gave my supervisor an idea 2 weeks ago, and then I said I thought I was going to read up on it and we'll find out if it's something I can do. So 2 days ago, I was now giving her the feedback. I was like, oh, that thing I told you about is a whole lot of deep research again. And she now said, okay, except you want to do a second PhD. I'm like, no, don't worry, this one is enough. So there's still so much question, so much alternative that you can query and all of that. So the tonight's lesson has, like, sometimes we get tired, but just like I'm encouraged today to just keep going, because I would like to contribute my quota to the question. Someone mentioned something someday about Google, that all of us,
Oh,
when you need something about Google,
okay.
yeah, that when you need something or you want to ask a question, you are quick to go on the internet, type it in, blah, 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 enter, and then you search for it. And most of the time, you find answers that you are looking for.
But
But
someone put
she
it
said
there.
something. But someone put it there.
Someone put it there.
Someone put it there. So what are you contributing so that when somebody asks that question that they want to ask,
Someone
that
put it
is
there.
relating to what you have, you they will go and find it, but because they will find it only because you have done what it takes to have that answer on the internet.
Yeah. Someone put
You
it
know,
there. You know,
so
it's
so
amazing.
there's so much to do. Yeah, we can easily go on Google now because we know if someone did not put that thing there, you will not find it.
Yes.
You will not find it there.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm encouraged. Sometimes is not. And then about patents, my query about the issue of patents and professor not having patents is that in Nigeria, sir, we are underfunded for research. Take it from someone that has studied outside Nigeria, because even me, when I think of going back to Nigeria now, I know I will not have 1/5 of what I have here, as in I will not have 5% of the research equipment and resources I have access to in South Africa. And even here, we don't have everything. No, there are some things that we still have to send to abroad or send to our collaborators in the Western world. Yes, but because we also don't have everything here. But in Nigeria, we don't have 5% of what I have access to here.
Wow.
So if one is not careful, if you know you want to contribute to, if you know you can contribute to science and research, you might not want to sit down in Nigeria without the resources to do the needful. So if and it's true that definitely the professor will want to be promoted. At the end of the day, what you hear everybody doing is phytochemical analysis, because they can easily take the plant and test it on one microbe or the other. Phytochemical analysis is the process of phytochemical. That's the chemicals from plants.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's much easier to do in Nigeria because you don't need much, you know. So at the end of the day, it's not by their own doing that they don't have patents, because it takes a lot of hard work and years of commitment. And definitely we want to be promoted too. So it's the way the system is wired, you know. So I just pray that God will help us as a country to make it. Yes, sir.
Interesting. I agree with you. Really, really, really. That's a big challenge for most of our scientists in Nigeria. You know, when I was trying to analyze. I already did my, what's the name? My data collection. I was trying to analyze my data, and what you just said, I went to YouTube. I very much know that I will have people there that will teach SPSS, and I sat down with it for 2 weeks. I've been on it, you know, and someone put it there.
Exactly.
Someone put it there,
and
you
even me.
shock at so many people that put it there free of charge.
Free of charge.
No, contributing
without
their own to the world.
And see, I've used SPSS to analyze the data that I've published, because I nobody taught me. I also learned online. I also searched online, and I got the answers, and I wrote the paper and I published it. So whoever put it there may not even know the impact of what they have done.
Yes.
Do you understand? They might not know how far reaching that little thing they have uploaded has gone. They might not know.
Interesting.
God will help us, sir.
Thank you very much. Yes, I have Yemi. Yemi, are you there tonight? Yemi, good evening. Hello, Yemi, are you there tonight?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, madam. How are you?
I'm good. Are you?
I'm very fine.
Yeah, thank you for this evening session.
Yep.
Yeah. I read something from Kojo Imade some hours ago.
Okay.
Let me just read it out for you. Don't let lazy people tell you are working too hard. Those those who get results put the work in. They burn the midnight oil to find the secrets. They spend time in prayer on their knees. Study to know how much rest the body needs and give that rest.
Mm.
But cut out frivolities and work, 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 work.
Are
Oh,
you serious?
it's interesting. Interesting. Do you know that in some actually I've heard a couple of people say that people and they have issues at work because they work hard. Some people don't like them. That this one you work too much. I even have read it. I've read it not once, not twice. Having issues with people because it's out of envy now.
Wow.
Yeah. The take home for me is, you mentioned that when you take responsibility, you see possibilities. This is
Yeah.
very, very key for me. There's something my mom used to say that, if you don't start something, you can't finish. Just start, just make a bold step. That thing that you think you can't do, by the time you start, in fact, it will expand beyond your imagination, because you have some ideas, but you just sit down in one place and you feel you can't do it. You won't just move.
Mm.
You,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know. And it's amazing. Now I was talking with somebody, and a cleaner actually, and she was telling me that she needed that she was saving money to go and learn what is it called now, how to make hair.
Mm.
You understand? I said, do you how much is your salary? She told me. I said, okay, how much have you saved? You've not saved anything. At least I've known her for 5 years now. She's been working in that place. I said, how much do you think you will need to learn that thing she doesn't know? Can you imagine?
Mm.
In
Mm.
fact, with less than half of her salary, in a month, she will learn what she wants to learn.
But she didn't start.
I'm telling you, she didn't even find out. She just felt that it's a lot of money. Mm.
Oh, and because of that, he didn't do it.
Yes.
Wow.
You cannot imagine. That's why some okay, here we don't volunteer. At least I know a couple of people in some people in the US, even at the secondary school level, that they will just volunteer. They will go and work free of charge.
Yes. Yes. Because they understand the impact and value of work.
Just learn it at no cost.
Because they understand the impact and the value of work.
Yes. But it's not there that all we understand there is that work is equivalent of money, money, money. I like what Ndabari said. I hear it often. That when I arrive, as in when I have money, then I can rest. I can work.
So that's a sign that people are not even aware of the whole essence of work. That's what they are not aware. You have money, then nothing to do again. That's a clear sign that many don't understand the whole idea and the reason why they work in the first place, which is what the society has defined, that work is just a way of earning a living.
I remember there was a time I was in a meeting with one of the MD of one of these first tier banks.
Okay.
And a customer was saying, oh, hope the work is not stressful. How are you coping? And his response was that, what will kill him if it's not work? It's work now.
Can you imagine?
It's so funny.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Even at that
And
level.
it's amazing what we discover through hard work.
Yes. Yeah.
Through work, you discover a lot of things, a lot of opportunities, things that you never thought existed.
Yeah.
And this, and you know, when you are when you think you are helping people, you are assisting people,
You are
you're
helping
actually helping
yourself.
yourself. Oh. Because no, yeah, you're
You
actually
are
helping
helping yourself.
yourself. Yeah, because no knowledge is lost.
You are helping yourself.
I belong to a cooperative, and people don't really, we have a poultry farm, and people really don't turn up, and the majority was like, maybe because they're not financially involved. I said no, that even if I didn't have 1 naira in that investment, that I would still be doing what I'm doing currently, because
Mm.
I know that I have a lot to gain. At least I have a lot of experience, that's a lot of opportunities in how we started from the scratch, how we're able to take decision, our
Mm.
vendors and what have you. But
Mm.
people just feel
Mm.
that, oh, how much is my money there? How much are they going to give me at the end of the, so they just felt,
Are
but that's
you
not
serious?
it's not
Can
a
you
good
imagine?
attitude. It's not a good approach. You
Yeah.
can't blame them. That's it's what they know, really.
Yes, 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 yes,
Don't
yes,
know more than that.
yes, 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 yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Modesola,
Thank you.
good evening.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I think you made a statement, was it close to the end, about what this session serves to achieve, or this to serve as a reminder to us of about the importance of work,
Yeah.
the fact, and why we're actually doing the work. Like
Yeah.
you said, going to the university, the sole purpose then was to get a good grade and get a good job and and then that is our drive. You mentioned about perseverance, and there was a rover before perseverance called
Yes.
Curiosity. They
Yes.
used the
Curiosity. Yes.
and so when as in, it was so captivating then when they analyze, there's something they call the 7 minutes of terror, and that is there's a particular when it is trying to land on Mars,
Yes.
the steps it has to follow, and the way it must ensure it is done in a very timely manner. Like it must be very accurate so that it
Very
will
accurate. Or
achieve
even to the release of the parachute.
exactly. So when you really, as in it takes, they said it takes about 10 minutes for radio communication to get from Earth to Mars. And I think for perseverance, what they used is they allowed it to decide where it was going to land itself. So it used, like you said, it used AI to get where it will land. They did not predetermine where it was going to land. When you listen to stuff, the whole essence of this mission is not to make money for now. As in
Do you
people who
understand? Do you
involved
understand?
in this, what they are trying to achieve might not
They
come up
just
in
want to
their life.
discover a sign
They
of
just
life.
want exactly.
A
So it
sign
might
of
not happen
life.
in their lifetime, but they are just pushing that one day man would get
Conquer
there.
Mars.
So they are not driven by what they are going to get from it now. They are not even driven by what they will get from it, because they might not be even alive to get anything from it. But
Yeah.
what it really takes and it's really captivating. And I think you also mentioned about professors with patents outside the country.
Yes. Hello? Hello? I can't hear you again. Wow, wow, wow. What happened? I can't hear you again. Can you still hear me? Can anyone hear me, please? Or is it from my end? Hello? need to come back.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you heard last, but
Just repeat the last 30 seconds.
Okay, so I was talking about a statement my dad usually makes.
Okay.
That he does not think that Africa or Nigeria can ever catch up with the Western world. That it even became more confirmed to him when he traveled, and he said the gap between us and them is so wide that it will take almost another lifetime for us to really catch up with them and all. And I was saying that it must change from our attitude towards work and what really drives us as individuals.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about interviews that I go for where they ask, okay, why do you, of course, you want increase in salary. What is your main drive? It's better standard of living and the likes. But there are times where, okay, right now I tend to tell them, okay, like I feel whatever I'm going to get from here, the extras it's to build up my capacity in terms of my exams, my certifications and all, and it's to help my my self-improvement and my development and all. So that change is how we can actually become better. Work, the importance of work and all, and why we should do it. So this is to remind us, and we shouldn't get complacent that all I am working for is to make money and make more of it. So yes, sir.
Thank you very much. It's been an interesting evening. Thank you very much. Yemi said we are parallel line that cannot meet.
Yeah, just in response to what Sola said about Western world. You know, my father used to say that lé wọn, so lè bá wọn. I think we are not even running out. We are not, you understand?
Wait. So we are not even running after them at all.
We are not sticking to, so we lè bá wọn now. So it's way you know that, okay, if you have a goal, that's when you see that, okay, can I achieve it? Can I not achieve it? But we are not even doing anything.
Lord have mercy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.